Jai Shri Ram. What would you do if your boss introduces a new system which is not foolproof? It's not foolproof. You know there are some problems, and he is introducing that. What would you do? Obviously, I won't publicly criticize him. I will talk to him in private and then hope for the best so that he'll withdraw it or get it corrected or probably go for something better. But it's all has to be done in private, not in public. Next, your boss finds an error in your work and criticizes you in front of your colleagues. Well, honestly, what would I do? I would hear him out and then tell him very politely that I'll explain this in private, sir. I will leave it there. Next, your boss criticizes you unjustly in private. Yeah, I'll hear him out and then I will request him to give me some time so that I can defend myself and put forward my counter. A member of your team is constantly late for duty. If he is a member of your team, that means you are either the leader or if you are just another team member. If you are just another team member, you will have to tell the leader. And if you are the leader yourself, you will ask him to come down privately for a meeting so that you can tell him exactly why, how you feel about this being late and all that. So that's the first thing I do. One of the senior management team makes a pass at you at the staff New Year party. You must be drunk and you see, making a pass, if you don't understand the idiom, it means trying to woo you, court you, trying to have some kind of a relationship with you, which is of a sexual nature. So make a pass at you at the staff New Year party. Well, what would I do? I would keep quiet and make a note of that, but you will have to study the what you call the grapevine, because you do not know how people at the top level of the organization are linked up with each other. If you place a petition before the highest authority, let us say the vice president or CNMD, that I think is will be too immature, because it's after all a pass. You will have to wait for something bigger to happen, or that person will try something bigger. Then perhaps you can lodge a petition with the higher authorities and hope for the best. Or you just ignore it and do namaste. During office hours, two of your staff spends an excessive amount of time chatting about their private lives. Your staff, that means you are the boss. So you will have to call them, talk to them, and tell them very politely that they should not be doing this, and then give them some work and pull them up on the work schedules. The best thing is to be open. Let people know exactly what you want from them and what you don't want from them. Now, unfortunately, some people may not like it, but that is something unavoidable. You will have to take that. Your boss expects you to shoulder more responsibility than you feel you are paid for or your status reflects. Well, as far as I am concerned, I would be glad to shoulder everybody's responsibilities. This is exactly what I have done in my career also. I was hired to teach one subject. I ended up teaching 6 subjects, and I got the reputation in the college as a students nicknamed me all-rounder. So much so that the principal of the organization institution started feeling threatened that I would take her post, which I did eventually in a couple of years, and I became sort of indispensable. In fact, the others began to realize that I am able to address questions of students in their subject also. So, well, you should shoulder much more than what you can. That is my secret to success. Grow laterally, grow horizontally, keep growing. Kaizen is the Japanese principle, Kaizen, and Kaizen means constant improvement. Remember, when you shoulder more responsibility than you are paid for, eventually you will learn a lot of things, and eventually, if the organization doesn't pay you for it, somebody else will pay you for it, or eventually you will be your own boss, you will start your own company. So there is no loss, constant learning happens. So never try to avoid extra responsibility being given to you. Take it as a matter of pride. Okay, let's look at the next question. You know your standard of work to be high, possibly better than most in your section, but your employer is ultra critical of you. Yeah, this has happened with me because my employer, unfortunately, though he was a senior person, at least 30 years elder than me, but he became a victim of all the office politics. He used to get carried away and he used to be ultra critical of me. I tried to reason with him, explain things to him, and in many cases he understood the situation, but in some he did not. Eventually, I had to leave the organization, and that was good for me. I started my own, and that's how I grew. Had he not been ultra critical, I would have probably hung on to that place. So, whatever happens, happens for good. Take that in your attitude, keep doing your work, don't bother, but try to explain, try to reason with the person at the top. Try to explain why you are like that, why your standards are so high, and why maybe others find it uncomfortable, and ask him, because he is a senior person, to advise what you can do to ensure that the others feel less annoyed with your standards. Why should I lower my standards because somebody is feeling uncomfortable? People feel jealous because you become popular, more efficient, more effective, your results begin to show, and everyone knows who is the Virat Kohli. Then that is the time when the others want to pull you down. So this thing is natural in groups, especially in any office setting also. A lot of politics is likely to be there. So you have to take this in your stride. Next, your boss bypasses you and admires one of your staff for good work. Doesn't matter. Just wait. Keep doing your work. Pile up. The boss may have some reasons, but when you go on scoring centuries, how long can somebody ignore a Virat Kohli? So don't bother about that. Don't be a slave for admiration and all that. Next, you feel that your boss is possessive of information, possessing, bad language. Your boss is possessing information which you need to run your section effectively. Then of course you will have to have a private meeting with the boss and explain things to him, and convince him that he has to part with that information. And then also obviously tell him in as polite terms as possible that in case if the information is not divulged to him, these could be the problems then the whole section might have to face. So this much at least you have to do, and keep this as a private record, and if possible use your cell phone to record the conversation secretly, so that if your boss becomes a rogue, then you have at least some evidence against him to show to the higher ups. You take a group of clients out to lunch, but the waiter ignores you, addressing a member of your group as if he were the organizer of the party. This is a simple problem. You have to just get up and talk to the waiter or talk to the manager and tell him that you are the organizer, and so they should interact with you. This is a minor problem, nothing to, don't have to get your ego involved and start shouting at the waiter. That's what most people would do. That's very dumb. Maybe the waiter is a low IQ fellow who doesn't understand. No problem. You have to tolerate many fools in our lives. You are asked to take an additional work although you are working to full capacity now. If you are working to full capacity, you will have to explain, and if you can, actually a busy man has time for everything. So find a way to do that additional work also. I would do that because it gives me a great kick to do that, and eventually you become so capable, so competent at multitasking that you will be able to do a lot of work which one person may not be able to do. That's good for you. That's how you grow. 13. Okay, a customer client is rude and abusive to you on the telephone. So you'll have to pause and tell him, sir, please do not talk like this. And meanwhile, if you can use another cell phone to record it, because if you record on the same cell phone, he will know that something is being recorded. So keep two cell phones always with you, mobiles. Get it recorded. Make sure that you record it, and all the while never lose your composure. Never lose your composure. Be polite and keep recording. Then you can use it. A customer client is rude and okay, that's over. A customer client makes a racist, sexist remarks which you find offensive. Again, keep recording, keep another cell phone, and explain why that is not in good taste and why you wouldn't want to hear such comments. And if it happens the second time, politely disconnect. Jai Shri Ram.